Hello. Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome to my segment of the Creative Course Collab page hop. I hope you have joined us and that you are enjoying all the beautiful projects that have been created today. I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm just going to make sure that I'm live because I'm supposed to be, and just make sure. And I think we're good to go. So anyway, 1 second, let me just double check something. I just got a message and I hope I'm not on at the wrong time. Nope, it's me. Okay, good. Um, it could be just like me to hop on at the wrong time. But anyway, hi, Amanda. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So the Creative Course Collab is a beautiful collaboration of several creatives that come together to offer you several different courses in one course. The course is delivered online. You have lifetime access to the courses so that you can learn at your leisure, go back and revisit things. And it's just a beautiful way to access online learning. So I'm so thrilled to be a part of it. If you have not met me before, my name is Michelle Adamas, and I am the owner of Vintage Revival Design Co. My business is in Northern Virginia, right outside of DC. And for this fall Flair collaboration, I am going to be the instructor for encaustic collage. So I'm going to bring up my other camera so that you can see. 1 second, just bear with me. Okay, so this is the project that we're going to be working on together. And so encaustic collage is really, the gist of it is just, it is fusing layers and elements and design with wax, and encaustic wax specifically. And encaustic wax is really beeswax mixed with damar resin. And so could you get this look with just beeswax? Yes. But the resin, the damar resin, which is really a tree sap, is what gives it its stability and its longevity. It is just a very ethereal look when you get these layers. So every layer that you add and you coat with the wax is going to give you just more translucency. And so this is the project that we're going to do. And I wanted to share with you another example. This was part of a encaustic collage course that I offer. And then here is another one. And so you can see that we've done collage and you can just see those layers behind it. So I just wanted to share with you some of the different things that you can do in encaustic collage. So those are just a few of the many, many, many projects that I've done. I've kind of gone down a rabbit hole because I love it so much, but I'm so excited to share my love of that with all of you. But today we are going to create, I was trying to think, what are we going to do? I had a pumpkin out to paint or decoupage, and but I decided we were going to do something fun with paint. I really feel like painting today, so I thought this would be a lot of fun. In the description, I have listed the links where you can register to win a free course, and then also a link for you to join the waitlist so that you will be the first to know when the course cart goes live next week. So be sure to check those out if you haven't entered yet, or if you're not on the wait list. I really feel like this is something you're not going to want to miss. So I am working on a piece of 11 by 15 watercolor paper today. We're going to be doing a little bit of a mixed media piece. I'm going to be using IOD stamps. We're going to be using paint. If we have time, we're going to use some watercolor pencils. And so the first thing that I want to do, so my idea is that we are going to create a vintage style crock that is filled with hydrangea. And so that's what we're going to do with this blank piece of paper. So to get started, I know that I want to, all right, I have my tape out. Let me find my I'll just use this. Oh, no, here it is. Okay, so I've got some masking tape. So as I imagine this, my flowers are going to be up here. My croc's going to be here. And I want to make it look like it's on a table. So the first thing that I want to do before I do this is I just kind of want to get, maybe the table's going to be a little, you know, I don't know. I think we'll just go like this, just like a little tabletop surface. And it's going to be like a little bit, I don't want it to be super straight. So I'm going to put it at a little bit of an angle here. So I'm just going to use this to mask off. To create my background, I'm going to use several colors of Wise Owl's Chalk Synthesis paint, and I'm going to be using a brayer to apply it. I really love to do this technique on a canvas panel board because the texture of that board lends itself so beautifully to this. And just so you know that I'm not painting right on top of my table, I have a little plastic cutting board mat here that I'm working on. So I'm just going to be pouring my paint right in. I'm going to start by using Wise Owl's River Rock, and we're going to be layering several colors with our brayer. And so I'm going to start by just pouring some out here, and I'm going to roll my brayer in it. And I'm just going to start applying. I'm going to paint with my brayer. So this paper does have a little bit of texture, and it's also very humid and hot in here. So I don't know how that's going to affect our drying time. So, or if we're going to get the same look, but it's going to get ugly before it gets better, as most projects do. So just bear with me. To keep my paper from warping too much, I've taped it to a piece of board here. And that'll just help because I'm using a lot of wet mediums on here. I'm going to take another color, which is, ooh, do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? I left my gray linen. So let's just go with a little bit of this Grecian clay. I don't know what I did with that. I'm just going to pour it right into that blue. And I'm going to kind of mix the two colors together. And I'm going to just create some texture. And I promise this is going somewhere. But if you ever get the chance to try this on a canvas panel board, it really is such a fun effect to do. So this is drying really super quickly. So we're going to go with our lighter color. And oh no, there's my gray linen. Okay, great. So I do have the gray linen. So this is gray linen. So it's a little bit lighter of that color. So the Grecian clay is darker. And so I'm going to go across here, and just in a random fashion, I'm going to do this. I'm just adding color. It seems to want to block up right all in the same place, because that's probably because that's where I'm putting my brayer down at first. Okay, so let's just do a little bit here, a little bit here. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. I wanted a little bit of that blue back there. You could use a paint inlay or something like that to create more of a wallpaper effect, or decoupage paper. That would be really beautiful. And so now finally, I'm going to use my lightest color, which is ivory. If somebody could let me know that you can hear me, that would be really great. I know we've had some issues, and it would not be the first time that I've lost sound. So if somebody would be so kind as to let me know that you can see, that would just be great. Or here would be great. So on this one, I'm going to roll it over the entire part. But what we're getting is just this really pretty blend of the colors, just like this. Okay. And so I'm going to get a little bit more on there, just like this. Okay, great. I'm so glad. Thank you, Amanda. Woo! I'm so relieved. I'm going to do a little bit more on here. I think I've got a little bit of gunk on my my lids. So I'm not always the best about taking care of this. So I'm going to add this. We're going to make this just a little bit lighter in here. I'm not going to worry about thinking about shadows or anything like that really today. I'm just going to get some paint on here. And what I love is just that it gives this really pretty effect. Now, for my table, I know that I'm going to do that in a different color. But this I'm going to dry up, and then we're going to create even more interest in the background. It's going to dry pretty quickly, although it does have a lot of stuff going on. So I think one of the things that I might do just to add a little more texture is just to use a seaweed sponge and pick up some of that paint. It's just going to help it to age just even a little bit more, and I like that effect a lot. I did nothing to prepare this paper before I did this. I've got to watch the time, so maybe somebody can help me. I think I was 4:45, so we have until 5:30 to do as much as we can on this. So, all right, I can see comments if anybody is here or has questions. Okay, this is going to be dry enough. The next thing that I want to do is add just even a little bit more interest. And so this is the new ephemeral type stamp that was just released by Ironwork Designs. And I'm going to use a stamp pad, also Ironwork Designs ink, and I'm going to just put a little script. So this typography stamp is beautiful for this type of thing. It's going to add just a little subtle interest to our project. And I'm just going to, I like to lay my stamp with the image side up and stamp that way. But you can also use a brayer to apply it. And I'm just going to lay this up here. And I'm going to use my hand. I'm just being really gentle with it. And it's not going to be a complete image, but it's going to, then I'm going to use the softer part here and just get a little bit more of that. It's showing up as black on this, but that's going to be okay. And even that is going to be okay. So I'm going to set that aside. Before we work with this, we want to make sure that that ink is dry. So this is a water-based ink, and it will dry, but it does take a little bit longer, but you can use any ink for this. It doesn't matter. And all I'm really doing at this point is building up my background. If you are watching, I would so love it if you would say hello and let me know where you're watching from. That would be terrific. We kept the schedule under wraps today, so I wasn't able to really schedule this. I just am, it's like a surprise, like a pop-up live, but super fun, right? Okay. Let's see if I'm getting, it's still a little smearing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little, I don't have a paper towel. So while this is drying a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and remove this tape. And this is the part where we're going to do our table. And so for this table, I thought we could do something. I thought it might be fun to do a little bit of like a wood, you know, like it's just on an old wood table. So for this, I'm actually going to put my paint. I've got a little palette over here to the side, and I'm using Joshua Tree, which is this beautiful, beautiful green. And I'm going to take a paintbrush, and I'm just going to start by painting out the table in this color. And I just want it to feel like an old painted, just an old painted table. I would go all out and do all kinds of crackle and things like that on it, but I'm trying to be cognizant of the time. Okay, and so I'm just going to create this surface here. Okay, and I've got some good. So my tape is really what's kind of keeping me in there. And this is going to be covered up as well. So I'm going to dip that one in. I've got a jar of water over here. And I'm just going to dry this up and then just dry brush a little bit of the brown paint. We may add some more of the Joshua tree in a little bit. I'm not sure. Charlottesville, Virginia. I'm not sure. Maybe I missed a question. I'm not sure. Okay. So this is going to be our table right here. Just like this. I'm going to go over this just a little bit more. In the past, I've done this with a little decoupage paper. So my table has been decoupage paper, but I thought we would just try this. Okay. So now I want to give this a, oops, my masks are flying. I've got fans going, so bear with me just a second. Okay. So I'm going to use some elements from the Barnwood Planks stamp set. And there are a lot of little elements in here. So let me just choose something and see what we've got. I need something kind of thin. I think we might, I don't know, do I want to do those knots or do I want to do something a little more? I think I'll do something like this. Okay. So I'm going to stamp this up as well with my ink. And I'm going to turn this over, kind of line it up a little bit. And we're just going to, you can lift up your stamp and see how it's doing, but I'm going to get a little bit of texture there. And then I can come in with, let's see if I've got this other little stamp that I really like to use for this, if I can find it. But we can also maybe just add a little knot to this in a couple of places and see. I don't have a thin mount on me, so I'm just going to do that up and we'll just do like a little knot down here. And it'll just be kind of, you know, one plank kind of thing. Okay. And so now we have our wood surface and I'm going to dry that up. Yes, I asked. Oh, I thank you, Amanda. Oh my gosh. I did ask that, didn't I? Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. This is still going to be a little, so while that's doing, see, I've got, this is like I got it more on my hands than anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do our flowers first because that's going to help me know how big our crock should be. So I'm just cleaning up just so I don't stick my elbow in this. I'm just going to clean up a little bit there. All right. So the stamp set that I'm going to be using for this is the new garden bouquet stamp that was also just released by IOD. And it is, it has all these beautiful floral images. And to prepare this stamp, the first thing that I did, because this is the first time I'm using it, is I used a 250 grit sanding block and I lightly sanded in each direction and then this way again. And now I've conditioned the stamp and it's ready to go. I only need to do that with a stamp set before the first time I use it. So that's how you do that. All right. So I'm going to get out this image and I'm going to see, man, I wish I had that, all right, I'm going to do this. I forgot to get a thin mount, which is really going to help me place these. So I'm going to remove all of these images, these stamps that I'm not going to use, and I'm just going to use this sheet as my thin mount. Okay, that's how we're going to do that. So you can see, you know where to place them because it has the images there. And I'm just going to use this as my thin mount. A thin mount is really a sheet of plastic, much like this. And it just works as like, if you are a rubber stamper or something like that, you know what it's like to, you usually use like a stamp block or something like that. But I'm going to go ahead and do this here. And I'm thinking this is going to help me see how big my crock needs to be and where I might want these hydrangea. So I'm going to start by stamping one right here. I really only need to get the outline of it for now. And I'm going to say I'm going to have something coming out of like this, I think would be really pretty. So I'm going to start like right about here. And like I said, just remember I said it's going to look really ugly before it starts to look good. Okay. So now what I want to do is to make sure that they are overlapping the way I want to. I'm going to use the mask that is included. This mask is going to keep my stamped image from it's going to protect it. So I'll be able to stamp right over this. So I'm going to do one more. And then we're going to fill in with something else. So I'm going to stamp this up. Whoops, my water just spilled all over you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll be all right. It'll be okay. And so I'm going to then do this, and we'll have a leaf maybe going here. I'll have to remember how I did this. Okay. So I'm going to stamp that just like this. All right. Now, this ink will wipe right off with a baby wipe before it's dry. And so now your mask is clean and you're ready to use this again. I love this stamp set too, Carrie. It's really, really beautiful. So the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to use my white gesso to fill this in. And I know I have it. I am praying that I don't have to get up to go get it because I had everything here. Let's see, I've got fiber paste. I've got all of these things, crackle paste. My white gesso is, it's on the bottom. I have this little art cart down here. And so I keep my things here. So 1 second, let me get to the white gesso. That's clear gesso. I know I have white. Hang in there with me, guys. I'm so sorry. 1 second while I look for this white gesso. Clear, clear, clear. All right, here's what we're going to do then, because I bet it's right in front of me. And I think maybe I'm just a little nervous. So we're going to just use our ivory paint. This is chalk synthesis paint, so it's a little porous anyway. And then I can just do some clear gesso on top of that, okay? So we can do that. I'm going to use let's get a brush here. And we're just going to, you're going to think I'm I've lost my mind, but we're going to paint this all in, and I'm trying to find a little bit of a rounded brush. Now, some of this isn't quite dry. Let me see if I can get that dry. This is just a little heat tool that I'm using. Okay, let's do, I think it's just like a little bit of a mess. Okay, but all I'm really going to do with this is I'll probably have a little smearing and we'll deal with that later. All I really want to do is follow along. I'm going to fill this in, and you're going to be like, why did you just stamp that? Well, now what we're doing is creating the background for our other, to be able to paint on top of this, right? So I'm going to do this. I definitely need my glasses for this. And I'm going to just kind of follow along these lines. I'm going to do my outline first. And then I'm going to, and it does not have to be perfect. We can always make a workaround for something. So right now what I'm doing is just filling in the outline of this. And I'm trying to see where my leaves are. I'm going to look at that again. I can use this to kind of help me a little bit. And so I know that I have this one here, and it looks like I've got one right down here. I'm going to just kind of come in here. I don't have to get all over the stamp lines because we can always try to do that up. But all I'm doing is creating a paintable surface. I get really quiet at this point because I am trying to pay attention to what the heck I'm doing, you guys. So I'm going to come up in here and just make some little, because I think that's going to work. And I can always use color to fill that in. So I'm filling in. The part I'm having a tough time with is this leaf. So I need to kind of hold this up and see where that little leaf is. So if it's here, then my leaf is down here. So I've got some that are overlapping. Right here. So I'm just going to go this. Sorry, I've got that in the way. And then I'm just going to kind of come up in here and hope that I'm getting this right. If not, we will come up with something to help us. Then here is this leaf here. Just want to get those outlined. I know it kind of came over here, and now we're starting to get somewhere. Okay. Now I promise we're getting somewhere with this. I really should use 2 coats. Went over a little bit, but that's okay. And this is already, it is so, I hate to complain because I know some people would be without electricity in this heat, and I'm so grateful that we're safe and sound and everything's okay. All right, so now I think I've got the most of them. I want to just double check this. Let's see, this one was, I had this leaf here. So it looks like it comes down a little bit more here. Okay, a little bit more here. And I may have a little bit of the, I'm just going to double check here with this. And that little stem was going that way. So I think I have it, everybody. I think I've got it. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to just put a little bit more paint on here. How are we doing on time? I only have 15 minutes. I wasn't expecting to have to do this part twice. All right, let me dry this up and then we're going to stamp again. Thank you so much, Callie. Hi, how are you? Carrie, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. This has been so much fun to see all the projects and to create together. It's really, really, really a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Amanda, for putting this together. Okay, so now we're going to bring this back to life now that I've painted that out. So I'm going to, once again, stamp up my flower. I really just need the leaves, not the stem. Okay, and I'm going to kind of line it up with my shapes as best as I can. Let's all say a little prayer for me. And if it's not perfect, remember I said it doesn't really matter, right? So I'm going to stamp that. So we're going to bring this back. Okay, and now it's back and it's ready to be painted. I now just have to find my mask. Yep, I got it. All right. So we're going to do this part. And I'm going to put the mask on here. Might not be perfect. And I am okay with that. Okay, and now I'm going to, with the mask in place, I'm going to line these leaves up as best as I can. And we're going to, I think I'm a little short on the white paint up there, but I think we'll be okay. All right, let's see if we can do this. All right, we're just going to go for it, okay? We're just going to go for it. Thank you. Hi, Maurice, how are you? All right, so now, I mean, is it perfect? No. I'm going to just stick that down there, but we're going to go with it, okay? And we'll figure that out. So now that these are in place, I'm going to do my vase for this. And so I'm going to use a pencil that I have right here. And I'm just going to kind of think about, I think I'm going to have it come about here. So I'm just going to go from a leaf area. And I'm just in pencil. I dripped some water on here. Is this the Stabilo pencil? No, this is a graphite pencil, and that's okay. Excuse me. And I'm going to come right about here. So I'm just kind of doing my crock shape, right? And I want this sitting on the table. So now I'm just going to do a little, like a half smile, right? And we're going to paint that out. I'm going to go ahead and paint this out first in the gray linen. And then I'm going to add a little, let's see, maybe I'll add a little of this and see what we get. Let's see what we get with this. I didn't have any goldenrod or anything like that. And I figured this is my crock. I can paint it in any color that I want to, right? So I thought that's how I'm going to do it because, you know, it doesn't all have to be the same. So I think we might actually get something really nice here. Let's see what we've got. So I'm going to be painting this in my colors, and I'm going to just get the gist of it on here. And then I'll be a little more careful as I get up to the blooms. You could use acrylic paint for this. You could use what you have. Don't feel like you have to only use a certain kind of paint for this. So I'm just mixing these three colors. And I'm going to come up in here. This is where you can make any mistakes that you made with your leaves or anything like that. Make it look like you did it on purpose, because you can just go around it and make it look like you meant to do it that way all the time. So I'm just looking for a smaller brush here. And hey, Kimberly, I hope you're having the best birthday. All right, so I'm just going to kind of come in here and go up around my leaves, and this will help me. I'll blend that color in, but I'm just getting right up here to those colors. And so this leaf is kind of up in here, but I did want some of the leaves to fall over my area. So now I've got this bigger brush and I can do that. I'm going to get a little more ivory in there and we're just going to do this. I don't want this to really be all one color. And so I really wish I had had that tan color that I love to use for this, but I don't. Okay, so I'm going to, now I'll be able to paint over that. And then just again, let's use our Seawell sponge and just create a little texture in here. I'm not going to have time to go into shadows and all of that today. I'm so sorry. I'll be sure to share the finished project though. And so now I do want to add just a little, I don't know, I'm going to add a little bit of water to my paint in here. And we're just going to create a little, just like a little wash. A little bit of a wash. I'll probably go something darker maybe, with a little bit of water on my brush. And using the sponge here. Amanda, are you going to shoot me for not being able to finish my project? Sorry, guys. I'm just kind of making this. We're going to have time to do a couple more things. I'm just kind of splattering some paint in here. Right now, it's the best I can do to just give it an interesting little effect. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, she does do a great job, Callie. She really does. She has that beautiful blend of tech savvy and artistry. So it just makes it, you know, because I don't know about you guys, but I think without her in this process, I love you, all of you ladies, but I just don't know like where we would be. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm just giving it kind of a, I don't know, I'll add shadows later. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of crackle to my crock. And I'm going to do that. This is a little piece of a crackle stamp that I've just cut up into fun little shapes. And I'm just going to kind of, I'll soften that with a little bit of paint later. I think my stamp set is just a little too juicy. So I'm not loving that part. So I'm going to pick that up and just kind of soften that a little bit. And I'm going to come down here and I can use a little baby wipe and clean that up. Okay, so I'm going to clean that up, right? And then just use my little thing. And I like that a lot better. So I'm just adding a little bit, just a little bit of cracking, just kind of kissing it a little bit. And then when I was at an antique store in Pennsylvania, I found these really cool vintage stamps. It has the letters and the numbers, and I am just in love with it. So I'm going to do a number 2 in here. So what I found out, so the numbers on Crocs, you guys probably already know this, are meant to let you know what the gallon size is of the Croc. And so I think that's really fun. So if it's a 2, it's a 2-gallon Croc. And so I'm going to stamp that right there. And again, this will drive me a little crazy, so I probably will. I'm going to play around with shadows and a little bit of aging and that type of thing. But let's see, we've got 6 minutes. I want to show you that for this part, what I really need to do is coat this with a coat of clear gesso just to make sure it's going to, because I'm going to be using watercolor pencils up in here. You could use anything that you wanted to. I could continue to use chalk synthesis paint. I could use acrylic paints, but you want to be able to make sure that it's going to have the tooth to take the paint. And so I'm going to get my clear gesso, which I absolutely know I have because that's all I could find earlier. And I'm just going to put, this is just a clear gesso, and I'm just going to put some in my palette over here. You should see the mess around me. It's quite stunning. I've actually impressed myself with the mess this time because I was like, oh my goodness. All right. So I may, again, get a little bit of smearing. Let me see if I can dry this. We've got 5 minutes. And I'll see if I can at least get it to the point where I can show you. We'll paint a leaf or something, right? I'm not in love with the color of this rock. So I really think it does need like a little more gold or a little more gray. So I will probably play with that. And if whatever steps I do when I post the finished project, I'll be sure to let you know in the comments what I actually did. And so I think this is going to be dry enough. So I'm going to get I need another paintbrush. All my big ones I realized were wet. So let me just get a little clear gesso. You know what? I need to make sure. Yeah, I double checked. So, all right. So this is clear. It goes on a little milky, which is super helpful because then you can see where you've applied it. But then it's going to dry clear. And so gesso can be used. It's going to seal what's underneath and then allow you to paint on top of it. This is you know, a pretty thin one. I use mostly the clear, but I know I have white gesso and I don't know what the heck I did with it. So I just want to get a good coat on that so that I'll be able to add water on top of this and it's not going to be a runny, horrible mess. So let me know if you have joined the waitlist for the course. I would love to know. And also, please don't leave without, please don't leave the course collab without making sure you get your name in for the free course, because that's amazing. That's an amazing offer. I know my encaustic collage course that I have online was I think this course is 37 and I know my encaustic collage class was 35. So to be able to get this many tutorials and learn from this many creatives and to create with them is just such an amazing thing. So let me see if I can dry this up. I only have 2 minutes, you guys. Oh my goodness. By the time I dry this, it's going to be done, but I promise to finish this. And maybe I'll even just record it. And Amanda, let me know if it's okay if I record the rest of this, if I can post it in the course collab for everyone. Would that be okay? I feel terrible for not finishing. Let me know if that would be okay. I'd be happy to do that. I don't want to take up Teresa's time either. So it is 5:29. So we really just didn't get as far. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. I am so sorry that we weren't able to finish. We did get this far. And I will do that. I'm going to go ahead and record how I finish this. And then Amanda's just given me the okay to share that in the on the Course Collab Facebook page, and I'll share it on mine as well. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us today. Next up is Simply Flamazing Art. And I'm hoping somebody's going, I know it's Simply Flamazing Art on Facebook. And I'm hoping the link's going to come up here. But if not, let me just get my phone, because you guys need to get over there and see her. So let me, I'm going to do the, okay. I'm going to go ahead and post the link, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you soon. Happy creating, everyone, and thanks again, Amanda. Take care, everybody.